What if I told you that one of the most talked about rookie quarterbacks of this season might not even finish the year on his team? Yes, you heard that right. Shadur Sanders, the name that set college football ablaze at Colorado and Jackson State, is now fighting not just for a starting job, but for his entire NFL future. And it seems the Cleveland Browns might already be moving on. Let's dive deep into this unfolding drama that's shaking up the NFL world. Cleveland's quarterback situation has always been a little chaotic, but right now, things are downright tense. Rookie quarterback Shadur Sanders, once hailed as one of the most exciting prospects entering the league, is suddenly standing on shaky ground. Despite all his collegiate accolades, and a fan following most rookies could only dream of, reports suggest his time in Cleveland might be cut painfully short. A recent mock draft from Sporting News is making waves, predicting the Browns could decide to cut ties with the Colorado legend by the end of his very first season. The same mock draft hints that Cleveland has its eyes set on a more reliable signal caller for the 2026 NFL Draft. Now let's remember how Shadur got here. He was selected 144th overall in the 5th round of the 2025 NFL Draft. And from the moment he landed in Cleveland, it became clear that this quarterback room was going to be a crowded one. Dillon Gabriel, a 3rd-round pick, was already there, alongside experienced veterans like Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco, with the injured Deshaun Watson still looming as the starter when healthy. It didn't take long before whispers started about Shadur standing in the pecking order, and it wasn't great news. Former NFL wide receiver T.J. Houshmandzadeh recently told the Post that the real competition seems to be between Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel. In his words, he heard directly from inside the building that it's really coming down to those two. Even when Shadur reportedly completed 7 out of 9 passes in practice, doubts lingered about who exactly those reps came against. Were they first-string defenders or 3rd and 4th-string backups? That uncertainty hasn't helped Sanders' case. Even though Shadur impressed at minicamp, completing 10 of 12 throws for 2 touchdowns in a single session, the reality is we don't know how tough that competition was. According to Cleveland. Com's Ashley Bastock, Shadur currently sits at 4th on the depth chart, trailing Pickett, Gabriel, and even Joe Flacco. And here's where things get really tricky. NFL sideline reporter James Palmer pointed out an ugly truth in today's league. 5th-round picks are far from a lock to make the final roster. Sure, Shadur's got star power and booming jersey sales, but in the end, NFL teams care about what you do on the field. Rumors are also swirling that Cleveland plans to use their precious number 1 pick in the 2026 draft to select a new quarterback, with Indiana's Fernando Mendoza mentioned as a top candidate. If that happens, Sanders could find himself edged out after just 1 season in the league. Off the field, Shadur hasn't exactly made things easier for himself either. In June alone, he was cited twice for speeding. Once for clocking 91 miles per hour in a 65 zone, and another time allegedly hitting 101 miles per hour in a 60 zone near Cleveland. While neither Sanders nor the Browns seem too concerned about it, and even his brother joked about it on YouTube, incidents like these don't help when you're already battling for your NFL life. That said, Shadur hasn't been without support. Former NFL MVP Cam Newton recently gave him some advice on how to handle media scrutiny and public perception, reminding him that not everyone's going to be in his corner, and that's okay. It's a lesson Newton knows all too well from his own headline-heavy career. Yet, despite the encouraging words, the outside voices grow louder. ESPN's Daniel Oyefusi stressed that being drafted after Dillon Gabriel leaves Shadur with a very uncertain rookie year ahead. Browns insider Mary Kay Cabot further reported that Pickett and Gabriel have been handling the 1st and 2nd team reps at practice, while Shadur and Flacco are getting shuffled to the 3rd and 4th string groups. It's a bad sign for a quarterback hoping to stick around. So where does this leave Shadur Sanders? Is this just rookie growing pains, or are the Browns preparing to move on before he even gets a real chance? The story of Shadur's NFL future is far from over, but right now, the writing on the wall is getting harder to ignore. One thing's for sure, we'll be watching every throw, every rep, and every headline because this saga is only getting started. What if I told you that a 38-year-old quarterback, one many believed was well past his prime, has just stepped back into the spotlight and completely flipped the narrative in Cleveland? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't a scene from a Hollywood sports drama or some underdog football film. This is the real-life story of Joe Flacco, a seasoned NFL veteran who has risen from the shadows to lead the Cleveland Browns through one of the most unexpected and thrilling playoff pushes the franchise has seen in years. And believe me, this story is only getting started. As the 2023 NFL regular season inched closer to its conclusion, the Cleveland Browns found themselves on shaky ground. Their quarterback room was filled with rookies and young players trying to prove themselves, battling it out for a chance to lead a team, and a city starved for postseason glory. With every passing week, the playoff picture was becoming murkier, and doubts began to creep in about whether this team had what it took to cross the finish line. But sometimes, in football as in life, heroes appear in the most unexpected moments. Enter Joe Flacco. Wearing the number 15 jersey, the veteran quarterback took the field when the team needed him most. In those final 5 regular season games, with the pressure mounting and playoff hopes hanging by a thread, Flacco delivered performances that silenced critics and fired up an entire fan base. He threw for an impressive 12 touchdowns, showcasing that trademark poise and calmness in the pocket, and led the Browns to 4 season-defining victories. And these weren't just any wins. These were clutch performances in games where every snap, every throw, and every decision carried the weight of a season's worth of expectations. His leadership and ability to stay composed under immense pressure reminded everyone why Joe Flacco was once a Super Bowl MVP. It wasn't just about numbers on a stat sheet. It was about presence, experience, and the invaluable quality of knowing how to win when it matters most. And that's exactly what Flacco brought to Cleveland. A spark, a confidence, and a belief that against all odds, this team could make a serious postseason run. Now, this sudden resurgence has placed head coach Kevin Stefanski in an incredibly tough position. On one hand, you have the rookies and young quarterbacks who were brought in to be the future of the franchise, players the organization had invested time and resources into developing. On the other hand, you have a veteran in Joe Flacco who's proving week after week that age is just a number and that experience is a priceless commodity in the high-stakes world of the NFL playoffs. With the postseason looming, reports out of Cleveland suggest that Stefanski is preparing to make one of the boldest decisions of his career. The young quarterbacks who once seemed destined to take over the franchise are being benched in favor of Flacco, the seasoned warrior now tasked with leading this team into the fire of playoff football. And while it's a move that makes sense based on recent performances, it's a decision that comes with significant long-term consequences. For the Cleveland Browns, a franchise that has struggled for decades to find stability at the quarterback position, this is a pivotal moment. Joe Flacco's success has not only reignited hope for a deep playoff run, but also cast doubt on the future of the young signal callers waiting in the wings. How will this affect their confidence, their development, and their role within the organization moving forward? Will they get another shot? Or has the emergence of Flacco reshaped the quarterback room's hierarchy for good? And beyond Cleveland, this quarterback shakeup could have serious implications across the entire AFC playoff picture. Joe Flacco isn't just any veteran quarterback. He's a player with a proven track record of delivering in the postseason. Opposing teams, who might have previously viewed Cleveland as an easier matchup, are now reevaluating that assumption. With Flacco's experience and clutch gene, the Browns have quickly transformed into a dangerous wildcard nobody wants to face. But perhaps the most fascinating part of this story is its unpredictability. The NFL is a league built on narratives of redemption, resilience, and unexpected triumphs. And right now, Joe Flacco is the embodiment of all three. A player thought to be nearing the end of his career, suddenly back in the spotlight, leading a proud franchise toward what could be its most memorable postseason run in recent memory. For Kevin Stefanski, this is a career-defining moment. Every decision he makes from this point forward will be scrutinized, debated, and remembered by fans and analysts alike. Does he ride the hot hand with Flacco deep into the playoffs? Or does he risk upsetting locker room dynamics by giving young quarterbacks another chance if adversity strikes? It's a delicate balancing act, one that could determine not only the fate of Cleveland's season, but the future of its franchise. So for those of you following this unfolding drama, buckle up. This is far from over. The Cleveland Browns roller coaster ride has taken yet another sharp turn, and with Joe Flacco firmly gripping the wheel, it promises to be a wild, unpredictable journey. We'll be bringing you every update, every highlight, and every jaw-dropping moment from this incredible story as it continues to unfold. If you're loving this underdog saga and want to stay ahead of every twist and turn, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and join our community of NFL fans riding the wave of this unforgettable season. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Stay tuned, folks, because with Joe Flacco leading the charge, anything is possible.